Hey everybody, Adam Savage in my cave with Beverly Downen. How are you?
Great, how are you?
I am so good. I'm so excited about what you have to show me. This is a material dive into a material I have no familiarity with, and just in the setting up for this shoot, you have been blowing my mind. Tell me what this stuff is.
So this is Fosshape from Wonderflex World, and it's actually a thermoplastic fiber fabric. So it's a thermoplastic, but it's a non-woven fiber.
So it feels like a felt.
Yeah.
It feels like a normal felt in that, and a felt is a bunch of tiny hairs sort of held together with somewhat of a binder. Yeah. This feels exactly like that. So what's its unique specific property? It's got thermoplastic in there.
Yes. So the cool thing about this is that if you apply some heat, so it can be steamed or you can use a heat gun with it, it shrinks and hardens. So some thermoplastics you can heat over and over and over again.
Right.
But this, once you heat it up, it becomes pretty rigid.
So this is okay. This is crazy. This is this is a traveling dress form.
Yes.
And you can unzip it and put it. Oh my God! You can go to a con with a dress form for staging.
Yes, and it collapses, so you can unzip them. You can make 20 of them and collapse them together, and it'll hold up a pretty a lightweight costume, like medium to lightweight costume. I wouldn't put Iron Man on this.
Sure.
But I can put EVA foam costumes, like a full armor build. I think would hold up pretty nicely on this.
This is a sea change in my head. I had no. I mean, the internet is replete with tons of people showing wonderful tutorials on how to take duct tape and saran wrap and to make your own mannequin.
Right.
And this is a highly refined version of the same.
It is. And I honestly have just started doing this, and I do have to admit the first time I saw this was our friend Sophie at Silicon. Sophie Wong. She used the black version of this. This is a 400 weight.
Okay.
But she made a few of those to display her 3D printed dresses. And that was perfect because they were really lightweight. Yeah. So I made one with this version. It was just not heavy enough. So the manufacturer reached out to me and said, hey, we've got a heavier version of this. Oh. That would be perfect. And this material has been used for a long time in millinery and also the costume making, theater making world.
Sure. So you could add, I mean, the thing that it does is it adds volume without adding weight or structure.
Right. Right, and you can make a lot of things if you have a buck, basically. You can make hats if you've got a shape. You can stuff some, an arm shape, and you can make an arm. As long as you've got something kind of rigid underneath, you can make a shell around just about anything.
Like the underside of a giant wig.
Yeah,
right, the inside
yeah, exactly.
Structure.
Yep. So I've got lots of plans to use this material for more things. But
so this is a brand new material for you.
It is. Yeah, I've had it for a while. I had this is 300. This is the thinnest.
Okay.
And it just wasn't heavy enough for me to use. It's sort of like. I was using other kinds of thermoplastics for applications that I was trying to use this for. But for now that I'm learning how to use this material, I'm finding that there are lots of ideas floating around in my head now of things that I can do with this.
Okay, so and this is 300, this is 400,
400, 600.
600. Okay, so this is double this.
Yes.
And this is the 600.
This is 600.
Okay,
yes.
Talk to me about how. Let's talk. I want to walk through how someone makes one of these, because this is like.
It's pretty great.
This is amazing cosplay technology here.
Yes, and I travel a lot to different shows.
Yeah.
So having this fit in a suitcase is really nice, and I don't have to worry about my costumes falling or using up all my table space.
So when it's in a suitcase, and even if it gets a little bit like twisted among your clothes, it's bouncing back to its original shape.
It does for the most part, and I found that if I have a little bit of forethought of how I am assembling this and putting my zippers in, because I've put zippers in these so they can come apart.
So this is one zipper, you do it, and it's two halves that you can nest to each other.
Yeah, they're two zippers. Two zippers on each side.
Oh, I see.
So I can have,
gotcha.
And just for sewing purposes, it's a little easier to have the two different zippers. But this was formed on this dress form.
Okay.
So I just made a copy of it with duct tape, made a pattern, and then transferred it to my Fosshape.
So when you said you made a pattern, you covered this with duct tape and then cut the duct tape into the pattern pieces?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and then I transferred that to paper and then traced all of that to the Fosshape. I added a little bit of a margin because you sew it together. And then after you stitch it together, you figure out where your zippers want to be. Actually, that's one of the first things, is thinking about where you want your zippers to be, because that can determine where your weak spots might be on your form. So you figure that out.
Right, because it moves a little.
Yeah, it'll move just a little bit. So, like for instance, right here, we've got a little bit of movement here on the shoulder. It's going to be okay if I am careful about what I'm putting on here.
Right. I have a structural question here, which is like when you're cutting apart this pattern, and like the body is a whole bunch of compound curves. Like this kind of compound curve is much simpler than the breast compound curve.
Yes.
So are the lines that you're choosing lines that you know from dressmaking and pattern making that are like the ideal separators?
They are, and I think I'm leaning on my experience from following other patterns to help me with those lines. But if you are kind of new at this and you're not exactly sure how to find those lines, look at any shirt. Look at a turtleneck, look at a corset. All of those lines are designed by people who know their stuff, and that's exactly what this is. So you can just copy what they've done. But this is kind of a princess seam. If you're looking
pretty straightforward. You've gone right down. They're straight.
Yep.
There's a center. There's these, and these follow the sort of more complex part of the curve.
Right. Yes. And on this particular form, I moved my seam to be not exactly on the shoulder because I wanted a slightly rounded shoulder area.
Oh,
without
and if you had done the seam
seam
there, it would have been more of a hard...
More of a hard curve. So it's just something that I've been playing around with because this stuff is super forgiving. You don't need any darts, really, for this.
Oh, because it'll work around those curves.
Yeah, and the more you use heat, the more that you use a combination of, if you're really using steam, you use a combination of steam and distance, and if you want to really compress the thermoplastic together to make it stronger or to make it a little bit more curved in or close to the curve, you can press down on the seam. So it's a lovely material that I'm learning how to use in that way, but it's great that you don't need darts, you don't really need any of that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it looks complicated, but it's pretty simple.
Can we do some of this?
Yeah,
I want to walk through because I have so many questions. All right, where do we start? This I'm so amazed by how lightweight and useful that is.
Well, let's start with talking about where we might want to put a zipper.
Okay.
So I can tell you by experience that this double zipper is pretty nice because that means that I can take it apart and it's in two halves. Yeah. So I can make multiples of these and stack them up, and I can have lots of them in my suitcase. The only downside is that sometimes, and I was having trouble putting it together, sometimes the zipper, if you are a little too aggressive with steaming, because it shrinks, it'll kind of spread the zipper ends apart. So that's something that I learned just today. That
so
I want to maybe
in the shrinking,
be a little,
this part pulled back.
It'll pull back. So mechanically speaking,
that means it's hard for you to start the zipper.
Hard to start the zipper, yeah. Another fun thing that I thought was hilarious, but it wasn't hilarious at the time. This is a dual separating zipper that I found at Joann's for a parka. And at first I thought, oh man, I got the wrong zipper. But it turns out that the dual separating zippers are pretty nice, especially if you have a part that goes all the way underneath. It just allows you a little bit more places to take things off when you're trying to wedge it away from the form.
So it gives you, one zipper would mean you'd always have to start from the same location.
Right.
This gives you the ability to kind of adjust where you're starting from.
Exactly, yeah. So that was a nice surprise. At the time, I was a little pressed for time, and it wasn't a nice surprise. But I'm glad to have figured this out. So yeah, let's figure out where we want to put our zipper. If we want to do some sides, or if we want to do maybe one down the back.
And one down in the back, what would be like, so you see you've got a zipper here on the sides, but not on the shoulders. What was the reason for that?
This was kind of my mock-up.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I was making this one, I sewed it together, and my only idea was, hey, how am I going to get this off off of the form.
Ah, okay.
So it's like, well, if I put a zipper on it somewhere, then I can get it off the form.
So
that's why there's no hole here, because when I was making a pattern, I usually don't include the shoulder part in the pattern. So
right.
it was, this
but I didn't
worked.
understand. You actually, in the process of you do the duct tape pattern, then you separate the duct tape into 8, 10 pieces, whatever it's going to be. Then you transfer those patterns to the Fosshape with seam allowance.
Yes.
Then you sew it unsteamed.
Correct. Yeah. The last thing we do
is the steaming.
Yeah.
So then you put it back on the dress form sewn up in order to do the steaming. So it.
Yep. So it's like a shrinky dink, but with thermoplastics and yeah.
But because this looks exactly the same size as that, and is that one of the things you get when you put it over the form? It shrinks, but not too much. Like it can only shrink so much.
We can burn the heck out of it if we put enough heat on it. Yeah.
So it'll keep shrinking.
It'll shrink down to a certain amount. I think that they say it's about 30%, maybe
up
15 to 30%.
So this is not going to the full shrinkage.
I don't think so. And the other thing, if you feel on the inside, it's a little, well, maybe not so much on this one, but if you put a lot of pressure on the outside of this and there's not so much on the inside, you'll feel it's a little fuzzier on the inside.
And that's because it's.
Because you're only hitting one side with the direct hottest part.
Right. Right. So the inside isn't getting as going through that thermal change.
Right.
If you get something wrong, can you go back in and steam out a dent or steam it to move it?
You can. I think you can steam it to maybe finagle it just a teeny bit, but once it shrinks down, you cannot expand it again.
Oh, you can't expand it again.
You can't.
So even when you steam it after it's been hardened, it doesn't soften up and move?
It might. I mean, we can try it. We can try it. But yeah, once it's hardened, it's pretty resistant to water. And so yeah, I wouldn't think that you'd be able to reactivate the thermoplastic.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, well let's make some parts.
Yeah.
Let's make it. Okay, so you were talking about where the zipper goes. Yeah. I think you've chosen the unassailably best place for the zipper, because I love the idea that you could fit like 5 full mannequins in a suitcase along with your clothes.
Yes.
And that's blowing my mind.
I also, last time I traveled with my prototype, I was able to protect my costumes with this as well. Just wrapping it around. Yeah.
Because the costume doesn't get crushed.
Yeah, it's a nice functional thing. I'm just so glad that Sophie introduced this to me, even though it's a thing that has been around for a while. I'm a cosplayer, and I haven't really been introduced to this material before. So
this happens to me every few weeks for my whole life. I learn about a new material that I'm like, how did I not know about this material? And it's never going to stop.
Great. Well, that's what I love about making.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I appreciate this in the ethos of cosplay is the sharing of information.
Oh yeah, and you get excited about it. It's like,
sharing
look at
everything.
This thing. Look at this cool thing that I made.
Dude, this 600 Fosshape is just, Okay, so let's say we've chosen this seam. I think that's unabashedly the best seam for the zipper.
Okay, all right. You want to do both sides?
Sure.
So it comes apart? Okay, let's do it. Let's begin by making, we have to make a pattern, basically. So we're going to make a copy of half of this body form because we can use half for the other half. Since it's a copy, yeah. So we'll wrap this up in plastic, and then we'll put any kind of tape on there. We can use duct tape or masking tape.
Great.
And we'll mark where our seams are going to go. We'll make our registration marks, just like a regular pattern. And then we'll cut it apart, transfer everything to maybe another paper, just to kind of make sure that we've got all of our seams nice and clean.
Okay.
And then trace it to our Fosshape.
Do some sewing and some steaming.
Zip, zip, zip.
Excellent. Do you need some saran wrap? Do you need some plastic wrap?
I have something here.
All
you
right.
might actually. This is press and seal.
Press and seal, so it sticks to itself.
So it sticks to itself. This is a wonderful thing
I
for
don't know
patterning
about this
with.
Stuff.
Oh my gosh, this is great stuff. So watch.
What?
Yeah. It's great.
It stays to stuff.
It sticks to stuff, yeah.
That's crazy.
And it's temporary, and it doesn't It doesn't take anything away.
Or...
So if you're building like a really large pauldron or some kind of big costume part, you can kind of help support those larger shapes with that. But I like to just put it.
And that's it. That's all we're doing. We're just covering this over and continuing to. Wow. Oh, I've got to get some of this.
Yeah. I used to use regular Saran wrap, and then I found this stuff, and it's just easier to handle, and then you're not trying to fight with the plastic.
Oh, it tears really nicely too. Oh, this is cool. I'm learning
fun,
so
right?
much today. This is amazing.
I should also mention while you're doing this that I have I blocked off the top and the bottom with cardboard. There was a little hole in the bottom of this, but you kind of want to be able to, if you want to have the form completely covering something, you need to have a harder surface underneath it, or stuff it with something so that you can form it. So it'll have something to
lay against.
To lay against, exactly.
So what happens if you don't do that? It goes in bowls?
It'll just bowl in. Let's see. Here's an example of what happens if you don't have something on the inside.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and you can see that this is a little bit less stable because it's not curved under. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
And we only really need to do half of this, like from here to here. So that's almost there.
Almost, yeah. If you want to do the bottom, we'll need to do that.
That's great.
How are we looking?
That's pretty close.
Everything? Okay.
I have a case of this upstairs. Like 100 rolls.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Does it get old? Duct tape?
What's funny is I hate duct tape. I literally, like, my main thing about tape is duct tape is the worst tape, but I love it as a metaphor and a limitation, right? Like, the fact that I hate...
You can use masking tape if you want.
No. I think we should use duct tape. I love the idea. So do you have a method for...
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Walk me through.
Yes. So I like to make sure that my pieces are all... So some people just throw duct tape chaos on their forms when they're taping, which is fine, but I like to use as little as possible.
Okay.
And I just like to have everything kind of as smooth as possible. So I'll go this way with my pieces so that I don't have a bulk of folded duct tape if it goes over a curve that isn't straight. So the body and this body form has a curve to it, so nothing's going to be completely straight across. So I just kind of slap it on and then kind of see where things go. And then if you're taping around a bust form like this, I tend to do the cups last, just so that I can use smaller pieces of tape.
Fair enough.
And kind of really control that. But that's just me.
No, that's
just my process.
But the topography of bodies presents all sorts of unique problems. So you just start like with a piece like that and coming in here.
Yeah,
or...
we can start with a waist or.
All right.
Perfect. And we might want to go beyond and put a little bit of tape on the, or maybe like one all the way around. Yeah, just to hold it on, so it doesn't.
So it doesn't delaminate itself.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna rip and hand it to you.
Oh, sure.
This is how we do duct tape dummies in my house.
And about a quarter overlap, is that reasonable?
Yeah, that's great.
All right. And you're not worrying about getting all the way across with every piece of tape. So that kind of split here is all right?
That's exactly what mine.
All right.
What happens when I do mine.
And little folds like that are fine.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh, this is so much. And then for stuff like this, I'm overlapping a little bit, but not too much. Is that cool?
Yep.
Great.
I think if you're adding a lot of plastic and you're adding a lot of bulk, you'll run into trouble. But if it's just a thin layer of plastic and just a couple layers of tape, it's not going to affect your pattern that much.
Right. And you're not fighting it when you're actually cutting out the pattern.
Exactly.
Right. You're not fighting all that volume or that body. Oh, this is so cool. At the end of our duct tape episodes, the pads of my fingers were bruised.
Oh, I bet.
Like I would have trouble holding onto a pencil the next day after tearing a few thousand pieces of duct tape. And the answer, everyone always wants to know how much duct tape we used on the show. About 85 miles.
Oh my God. Really?
Oh, when all was said
you were
and
able
done.
to figure that out?
We had some poor intern in Australia kind of go through every episode and count how many rolls we used. Yeah.
Wow.
Across all the duct tape episodes. We're looking for the wide planes.
Yes, and then if we connect this tape, if we go all the way to the back,
right,
then we'll have a nice sturdy structure that won't slide around. If you're not using this press and seal, sometimes it's hard to keep the tape in place because it'll just slide around.
Oh,
so this is really
so
kind of
normal plastic wrap.
Will slide around on your form. Yes.
So I'm going to basically give a shoulder strap here. I mean, I'm going on to that. Is that all right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because there's nothing under there.
That's okay.
Okay. Because we can come up and cut, yeah?
Yes, yeah.
All right. Tell me when I'm making a wrong turn.
Oh, no, you're doing great.
That's why I was thinking long straights here, yeah?
No, that's great.
Okay.
And duct tape is great because you can stretch it just a little bit.
Yeah.
Make it do what you want it to do.
I mean, the other problem I have with duct tape is it deteriorates into such an awful form, right? It rots, it gets hard.
It does, and gummy. And
however, again, yeah, I love the metaphor.
You know, for this, Fosshape is very forgiving.
Right.
So this is probably a little extra for what we really need to do, but this is just what I would do for when I'm making costumes. Any other kind of pattern, if it's flush to my body, I would need to do this.
Right, right.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we're there.
Amazing. So now that we've got that, I'm assuming we do marking.
Yes.
Do you need a laser level?
Only if you really want to use a laser level.
No, that's fine. You just do this by eye. I'm assuming you do a center line.
Yes, and the thermoplastic the Fosshape is really forgiving. So even if we're off just a little bit, it's going to be okay because it'll shrink enough for us to make it work.
All right.
So yeah, let's make a center line. So it's probably right about there. Mm-hmm. There. This is the waistline. Belly button's probably right there. Mm-hmm. And then that looks like maybe the center.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. And then I always have to, there. Repeat on the back.
I'm really glad we're doing this physically because talking about it is one thing, but it's sort of like the discussion version it sometimes keeps out the total amateur who's like, I have no idea where to start.
Oh, totally. Or you think that it's the simplest step, but it's the one thing that someone just can't get past because they can't see it. We'll do this. And then on the bottom, so depending on what you want to do on the bottom, so this, underneath this is a cardboard piece that has a little circle that's cut out. And I did that so I can mount this to a dress form or a light stand, which is way easier to bring.
Because they fold up really all in a tube.
And you can adjust the height
of course you
for
can.
whatever you need to put on there. So, so this has a cardboard base with a little cutout on the bottom, so I'm just going to draw that too.
Well, I think what someone needs to design is a little 3D printed thing that provides an interface between a light stand and a dress form.
That would be really great. I would sign up for that. Okay, so that's our bottom, and we'll write back midline.
But that's not the only line we draw on this.
No.
Now we're going to draw all of these.
We're going to draw, let's just copy what we did here just to keep it nice and simple. So we did our midline here. We're going to find the pointiest point there, and then kind of midline on the shoulder. And before we draw the shoulder line, let's figure out where this is going to go.
Fair enough.
And to do that, since we're doing side zippers, and it's going to go on a curve that goes on a few different places, let's get our zipper.
Got it.
And just make sure that we're drawing a line that the zipper can handle. Because zippers don't do this.
Fair enough, right. So when you really lay it out and see, it guides your line.
Exactly, yeah. So this...
Oh, that's smart.
I had to do that with this, and if I was to If I was to pattern this line on a garment, it might be a little further forward.
Right.
And definitely, it would be a little bit different here. It looks okay. It looks fine. But yeah, let me get the zipper out and we can figure out where that's going to go.
Oh, this is so cool.
All right, we've got orange zippers for you, Adam.
I love zippers so much. Orange, so awesome.
And these are dual separating zippers that I just got at.
So they have two, what do you call those?
Two,
what do you call those things?
Zips.
The zipper gathering part.
Someone's telling us right now.
The business, they're all yelling at the screen, typing it in the comments.
So the dual zipper just opens from both sides. And I'd never used one of these before, and I was like, why would you want a zipper like this? It just doesn't come apart. But it does. It comes apart. You probably already knew that with the dual separating zipper.
I didn't. Oh, of course it comes.
So it comes, yeah.
Of course it comes apart that way.
Yeah. So, okay, so we'll leave it zipped up, and then we'll just kind of figure out.
So you're just draping it in a way that tells you where the line wants to be.
Yep. So we don't want the zipper to have to do too much work.
Right. And in this, you're not trying to get a perfect layout across the whole seam. You're just solving the problem piece by piece.
Yep.
So are you then coming in here and making doing that kind of thing?
Yep, perfect. And then we'll know where our midline will be.
And same thing up there. And then this seems like it's a pretty...
Yeah, and then this could probably just go straight down or...
All right, so that's the zipper line.
Yes, so that'll be our midline. We're going to cut right there.
Okay,
Yep.
May I?
Yes,
okay,
please.
Cool. And I don't have to draw this to worry about the zipper seam allowance yet.
No.
That's something I can worry about later.
Yep.
Great. All right.
Perfect. Okay, so let's start.
That's great advice about letting the zipper guide that line.
I learned the hard way. So this is because I have an armhole here, I didn't need to use a big, long separating zipper. It's just a normal zipper that separates. But if you need it to go all the way across, you need to make sure that you are getting the right length. I also used I had an invisible zipper because this is the only other zipper I had that was separating in my stash. So it doesn't matter what kind of zipper you use as long as you've got enough of a seam allowance to sew.
And in general, I would think the bigger the teeth, a little bit easier to manipulate and mess around with.
Yes.
I have joined zippers that where the carrier came off, and it can be.
That would be my kind of nightmare for sure. Okay, let's continue drawing some of these lines. So we've got, you actually kind of marked exactly where we're going to put this shoulder seam. So it's about halfway between what our collar
the collar transition.
So
okay.
Collar would probably be about here, because that's where that curve starts. Let's continue that line here. So. And
with each of these lines, you can't avoid the compound curve, but you're trying to choose lines that give you the gentlest compound curve.
Getting good at that takes a little bit of practice, and I'm still learning as well, especially with garment making, where those compound curves need to go. But if you get it wrong or it's not feeling right, once you get your patterns laid out, you can just tape it together again, redraw the lines. The wonderful thing that I love about patterning is that you can put your seams anywhere. We could put a zipper around the waist if you wanted.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where you put seams, as long as it can be sewn together and you've got margins and enough thread in your sewing machine, you can do anything.
So now for this one, are you trying to choose the sort of harshest transition point?
Yeah, so there's kind of a curve here, and because, maybe we can be a little stubborn like I was with this one, we'll just match where this seam is.
Okay.
Trying to just make sure it's not right on the edge of this.
If it's right on the edge, what would the issue be? Is you wouldn't get as gentle of a curve?
It just wouldn't be a gentle curve.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can definitely put it on the edge if you want, but...
you find that when the seam is back from the edge, you get a better curve.
Yeah, and this isn't... absolutely, yes. And it's a little easier to mask. Like, let's say you have a costume where this is... you can see through it. You could either put a cover, like a mannequin cover over these, or if you don't have one of those, if you just hide your seams a little bit away from where they're going to be exposed.
Then it's less visible. Got it.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we're going to do. So we'll do that. And then this one can come about halfway between this line and that one.
And so in this is your master pattern is this master pattern is one you work with because it's your form. It fits your form closely.
It does not fit my form closely.
Oh.
No. I've been wanting to make a body form that is actually mine that isn't made out of duct tape. But it's either going to be 3D printed or maybe I'll go
from a scan.
From a scan.
Yeah, yeah.
I do have a 3D model of my form that I had done at a scanning place several years ago. But I want to do it again because at the time I had my hair up in a hairnet, and so it's a big like
your
bulk.
head's all wrong.
It's all wrong.
Yeah,
it's all lumpy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got some ideas for how to, and also how to stand in one of those so that I can yeah. So, but that's next.
That's
but these future me will make better decisions.
That's a great title for a book. Future me will make better decisions. And I noticed this form does not have that seam.
No, because this doesn't have a sleeve. Or there's a space here. So, we might not need it.
Like it seems to be like it's optional, but I mean,
yeah, we might not need it. It would be one less thing to sew.
Okay.
And I bet we can do it.
You bet we can get away without it?
I bet we can get away without it, yeah. So let's do it, but, okay, so let's move our lines around a little bit.
Okay.
And can we do something that is just a neurotic thing that I like to do?
Means.
Can we cover these seams, these lines up with more tape?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to not hide our crimes, but so it's not so confusing later. Sometimes I'll just use rubbing alcohol to remove the Sharpie. But
I keep it in a spritz bottle, actually.
Let's add a seam in the back here.
Right.
So we'll just continue this seam that we have from the front. We'll just continue it in the back. We'll just do halvesies.
Okay. So what we end up with is, it looks like almost just 6 pieces of fabric. Six pieces of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yes, and if we want to go over the top a little bit. So this one, because you need to have some sort of material here to sew to the zipper, we'll split that in half as well. And then we'll have a little bit on the bottom. So we'll have some bottom pieces as well.
Okay.
So we'll draw our seam there. It's just a circle. So we'll just cut out 2 half circles.
Okay.
I'm being a little bit lazy with my pattern. Since we already designed it. This is a cooking show version, yeah. Okay, so on the bottom, since you need to have a front and a back, we didn't add tape to the front and the back here. But what we can do is just mirror these 2 pieces.
Extend those over. I see, yeah.
And then we've got our zipper line. Just continue our style of. The zipper's not going to reach that far.
Right.
And then we need to draw this.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Because that's where you do want a nice sharp line.
That's right.
Okay.
Alrighty.
So now we start cutting that out.
Almost. We're going to label these.
Oh, yeah, 1, 2.
3, 4. And we've got our back, since we know where those are, and then this is our front.
It seems overkill until you have these 4 pieces out and you can't remember which one is which.
Yeah. So I'm also labeling collar back and collar front.
Awesome.
And then maybe a couple of registration marks, which will just help us line things up later.
Brilliant. And these registration marks will be added to the pieces we're cutting out of Fosshape.
Yes. And we'll make that a little different from the front. Okay. Yeah. I think we're ready to cut out.
Okay. I'm going to give you my less great scissors for that.
Okay. Oh, and you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to swap to, or maybe you have safety scissors, medical scissors, the one with the blunt tip.
Oh.
Do you have a set of those?
I might have safety scissors. Wait.
soon as I get.
And those will cut a dime in half, so.
Yes, perfect.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, these things are wonderful.
It's a little bit of a Hellraiser kind of vibe here.
Yes, it is a little.
Look at that. Nothing like a cut line to make it look like you really know what you're doing.
Right?
It looks fabulous.
And we're done. Oops. Oh no. It's okay, we can cut it. We can cut it again. Or put more tape on it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna back, front. Okay, this is the exciting part. You want to take it off?
Oh,
it's just so,
yeah.
It's so gratifying.
Oh, man. Wow. Wow.
So that's our pattern.
You know, I've seen so many tutorials of making duct tape mannequins. I've never done it.
Really?
Yeah, I know,
Oh my
it's
gosh.
ridiculous. So then you just cut everything out along these lines.
Yep. And
Shall
we
I?
can use scissors or a utility knife. Yeah, it doesn't matter whatever you use.
Wow. I hadn't realized until doing this how lightweight that duct tape pattern can actually be. How easy to manipulate.
It's pretty great stuff. I like using it over masking tape, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Just for patterning, for making with EVA foam, because you can stretch EVA foam a little bit and you can manipulate it.
Yeah.
You don't need the pattern to be super exact. So if there's any sort of bulky part, you can replicate that on the material in the final pattern. It's not like PVC like that jacket that I just made.
Right. So when you say masking tape underneath, you mean you do a layer of masking tape on top of the press and seal?
You can.
Okay.
Yeah, just like duct tape. So if you'd rather use masking tape.
And that gives you a little more body to work with?
It can, definitely more rigidity.
Right, right.
And you can draw on it a little bit better. A little more permanently maybe than the duct tape. Kind of.
Gotcha. Right. Oh, so you mean the masking tape instead of the duct tape, not underneath it?
Right.
Oh, gotcha. Right.
Some people use clear tape as well, but I think, I like.
And with masking tape, do you have a preferred, do you use like the painter's tape or do you use black or white masking tape?
It depends on what I'm using. If I'm making a pattern and I have to put tape on EVA foam, I'll use frog tape.
Frog tape.
Oh, the green stuff.
Yeah.
Painter's tape doesn't stick enough, and masking tape sticks too much.
And painter's tape is meant to not stick too much.
Right. So it does its job really well.
Right. So there's our pattern.
There it is.
Amazing.
Wait, are we missing a piece? Or did we just have 4 pieces?
We did just have four
Okay,
main
that's right.
pieces. And so then 2 halves of the neck.
Okay.
2 halves of the collar.
Yep.
Front and back of the bottom.
All
Okay.
right. So next, we're going to trace this to
Some craft paper?
We can do it to craft paper, whatever you have. We can
Yeah.
we can go straight to Fosshape, but if you want a more accurate pattern,
It's better to do
It's
it in
better
craft
to
paper.
do
Yeah,
it,
I get
yeah.
craft paper.
for this stuff. This doesn't need to be super exact. It's just
close enough.
Just close enough. But don't forget registration marks. And then
oh, there's a little bit of stickiness to it.
That is the other thing that is wonderful
about
this.
Seal.
It'll stay in place for you.
Oh, all right. I'm going to do this one. Oh, this is very exciting. And like you say, there's forgiveness in this process.
Yes, lots of forgiveness.
So then I'm assuming you'll be not quite slavish about the seam allowance on the zipper because of the shrinkage.
That's right. Yeah, we're not going to sew it like you would normally sew a zipper to something. We'll basically just top stitch everything together, and we're going to use a walking foot on.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why I brought my machine. So.
That's it, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Excellent.
And then this is number 2.
Okay, and then this is the piece that we had that was kind of...
yeah, I wanted you to do this one because I don't know how that...
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways that we can do it. If you really wanted to, we could cut a dart and then just sew that together.
But your experience is this doesn't need that dart.
I think we can, you know...
Kind of mush it?
I think we can mush it.
Do you give a little extra allowance on it?
We'll give it a little extra allowance on it, yeah. So we're just gonna trust the material to help us out a little bit.
All right.
Less sewing. All right, this is number 3. And then just to remind myself, I'm just gonna draw a little extra in here. Just as a reminder, add more seam allowance right there. Cool.
You're being so much less exacting. I love it. I see. I mean, you know, because you understand how the material's moving.
Yes. I mean, we can get really exact, but it's just all going to be kind of smushed together anyway. So, and normally, if I was making a pattern, I would, you know, notch the pattern lines within my little pattern notcher. But again, we don't really need to.
What's a pattern notcher?
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna leave my pattern notcher with you as well. You're gonna love it. So it's just when we cut these out, we can punch a few notches.
Okay.
Let's cut these out.
All right.
So I'm going to show you pattern notchers.
Pattern notchers, yes.
These are fun. So here's a notch, and this just helps to just punch out. So that's going to be your registration mark. And if you're making a bunch of them, it's, you know, when you're tracing your material out, it just makes easy work.
Because you make them, you don't have to pull up and retransfer them. Wow, it's just that much faster.
It's just that much faster, yeah.
That is so neat.
And who doesn't want another little tool in there?
This is for me?
Yes.
Oh, I love you. Thank you. And so you just go to each of your registration marks?
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing. It's so funny. I have so many hole punches of all sorts of different kinds, and I've never come across this. Oh, that is super cool.
And then when we draw the registration marks, they're just nice and neat, and
they guide you to not forget this step.
Yeah. I used to use a utility knife to make little notches.
Okay.
Cool.
I think we got it all. That's amazing.
All right. So now we have all of our pieces. Everything's labeled. We need to decide which ones we're going to cut 2 of.
Right.
So we're going to do. And I always have to write down on my pattern because otherwise I won't cut enough.
Yeah.
And then cut 2. And then on the bottom, we're going to mirror these pieces and we're going to cut 1. So it just wrote that little note in there. And then this one, we can probably tape these two together because we just need a hemicircle.
Okay.
Because we're going to do 2 of those. And then this, we're going to cut. This collar, we're going to do the same mirroring, I think.
Oh, that you literally just cut it all the way across.
Yeah, because this one I was able to do without a seam right here, so just less sewing.
Yeah, less sewing is better.
Cut one, and then this is the back. Let's just make sure.
Oh, and you're writing mirror on the line it mirrors.
Yes.
Got it.
So it'll be on that. See, mirror.
I love guidance notes on things.
Just makes
as a genre.
Yes. Okay. So next we're ready to trace
onto Fosshape.
Onto Fosshape.
Okay. Let's break it out.
Okay.
Look at all the Fosshape you have. Oh my gosh, this is great.
So this comes by the yard.
Yeah.
And it came to me in a big bolt of 5-yard roll. It was pretty great to have it all rolled out on my floor. And like, oh, this is going to be great. So we're not going to need, we'll probably need like a quarter of this. Yeah. But let's move this out of the way.
I'm going to put this on the table.
Sure. Ooh, so there's no direction to the grain, even though this comes as a bolt of material.
There's no bias.
There's no bias.
Got it.
So we can put these anywhere we want. And we'll just need to make sure that we're positioning them so that we have enough room around it for a little bit of a, what is it?
Oh, a little bit of, a seam allowance.
Seam allowance, thank you. Yes, thank you.
And then here is where these markers could actually be.
Oh, cool.
These little, because they come in multiple colors too.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
So then we trace exactly. But with allowance. Right, like we'll cut with allowance. Is that correct? Or
yeah, we can do that. Yep.
You tell me how you do it. I'm just guessing.
Let's trace. Yeah, let's trace exactly around, and then we'll just cut with an allowance. Yeah.
Okay.
I like this pen. This is way easier than using a Sharpie.
Yeah, that very thin tip is really useful.
And then when we're done tracing the ones that we'll cut 2 of, we'll flip them over
and cut the other
side.
Draw the second, right. There we go. It's very stretchy.
This, yeah.
The Fosshape can be.
And if you stretch it while it's in this form, it will shrink a little bit, but you've thinned out the material, so the chances of it being a little thinner in that area when you heat it up, or burning all the way through, making a hole, is pretty high. So I think some folks might pre-shrink just a little bit. If they're doing pattern making, that needs to be a little bit more specific. I've just read that people have done that. I haven't actually tried that myself. Cut more. Can we use a different color?
Yes.
For the other side?
Yes, we have green, we have blue. Here, let's do green for the other side.
Perfect.
I love the pattern notcher. I had no idea. It's such a simple little thing that I would not think. It's that thing it brings you just one step closer to flow, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Where you're not having to interrupt your process.
Right. And you can rely on it. We're like, yeah, that's my notch. And all kind of looks the same, and I don't know. I like having a little bit of order during my chaos.
That's enough allowance between these two, is it?
Yeah, I think we can make
barely.
that work. And it's not going to be around one of our tough spots. Oh, speaking of the tough spot, I think this was where we needed to have more seam allowance.
We wanted a little bit more.
Let's do a smidge more.
Yes.
And we'll just make sure that we allow.
I'm going to draw a little bit like that, just a second line so we know.
I think that's great. Cool.
And then this was here. Oh, this is 3. Oh, right. It's on that one.
Oh, right. Okay. I've got the red.
I'll bring it down. I love this. This is one of my favorite moments of stuff with all the shit written on it and everything.
Now we can cut out.
And you don't need any special scissors for these?
Let's use a rotary tool.
Okay. I have 2 of these and I've never wheeled them into my process.
Well, neither have I until I found this one. The Famore folks, Famore Color Reaction sent this to me because they convinced me that I needed to try it again and kind of try to give rotary cutters another chance, because I don't know what I was doing with the other ones, the ones that you buy at the store. I would always get nicks in them. So it's just frustrating when you're trying to cut your fabric and then it doesn't go all the way through all the way.
Right.
But I've had really good luck with this one, so I really enjoy it. And I just put a fresh blade on this. So we can go ahead and cut. And so we're gonna add a little bit of a margin. So probably
1/4 of an inch or so?
Yeah, so maybe something like that.
3/8?
Yeah.
Okay.
All the way around.
And it's enough to sight it roughly by eye while you're doing that?
I think so.
Yeah.
And when I cut, sometimes I'll cut parts out and get rid of, like I'll cut smaller parts out and then I'll go back in and I'll refine the cut. So I don't know, maybe we can get rid of some of this.
Right, we could cut across the bottom of this. And then let's slide this over so you have a surface underneath. Yeah.
Perfect.
Look at that.
Oh, that's gratifying. That's really nice.
A nice fresh blade.
Oh, so yep, slide it down. There you go.
Oh.
And so you can cut like a pizza or whatever seems to work for you. Seems to be okay. However you naturally want to cut.
And I'm just playing around with the pressure. I see that it takes less than you think.
Yep.
All right, so there's one section.
Perfect.
I think we can do this. Oh, all right.
Foiled.
God, that is a satisfying cut. And especially since you're moving while you're doing it, instead of scissors, it's not faceted.
Yeah, and it's nice and easy on my hands.
Oh yeah, I'll bet. After when you've got lots of this to do.
I did bring some nice sharp scissors, so I can start chopping away here. Something so nice about super sharp scissors.
Right? Well, I mean, it's the cloth or die scissors, right?
Yes.
Like, only for material or
That's
I will
right.
punish. So
now we have
got
all of our
3L,
pieces.
3R, and so this is enough to start sewing a thing together.
It is.
Wow. That was fast.
Yeah, it's just getting your pattern and then tracing it and then taking the time to cut it out. But your margins are very neat. Mine are a little hectic, but in the end, it's all gonna shrink down. So
We're gonna get to hide all those crimes.
That's right.
So it also seems like when it's shrinking around a form, it's not shrinking with so much pressure, it's gonna distort that form. It's stopping where it can't move anymore.
Yeah, and you can actually control it with the steam that we're gonna be using. So
Great.
As long as you go kind of slow, I think, well, this is gonna look great.
All right, let's put some stuff away for the next step, which I think is sewing.
Yes. Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
All right, we've had some lunch. Let's get to sewing.
Sewing.
All right. Where do you start? What is your natural place to start?
My natural place is with the easiest seam. So,
right up the middle?
Right up the middle.
All right.
Yes, so we can use these little wonder clips. I love these little things.
They're the best.
They're the best.
So here's one of the ones.
Yep.
And then here is the other one, as it were.
Perfect.
And then the other easiest seam I would assume would be 4 and 4.
The backs.
The
two
back
backs.
center.
Perfect.
And again, because of the amount that this moves around, you don't have to be super slavish about the seam allowance.
No, and I just noticed that one of these was just a tad shorter than the other, so I just kind of tugged on it a little bit to bring it. But it's so forgiving. It's going to be all right.
That's awesome.
All right.
Alrighty. And this is your main machine.
Yes, I love this machine, my little Janome. I have a different kind of a foot on this machine.
Oh, you've got a walking foot attachment.
It's a walking foot attachment. And you want to know something funny? I have 2 machines. I've had this walking foot for years.
Yeah.
I was trying to put it on the wrong machine. And so it wasn't working. And my needles would break. And I had it on the wrong machine. And so when I was making my recent costume, I went and I looked up a YouTube tutorial and realized I had been installing it on the wrong machine this whole time. So now it's on this machine, and I think I'm going to leave it on this machine.
Fair enough.
Because I can sew all sorts of materials with this walking foot, and it's great. It's perfect for this material because it's really thick, and the walking foot has a foot. The feed dog is helping, so it's like really it's actually helping walk that material through.
It's not working against you.
Right. So
yeah, I had one on my Janome 3000. I had the same exact walking foot, and it was amazing what it increased your ability to do.
They're so great. So on this one, I used a serger, which also works.
Ah. I was wondering about that.
Yeah, the serger was really great and really fast because you just zip, zip, zip.
Because the serger also cuts.
Yes.
Right.
The only problem that I had with this was that my pattern was too big, and I had to keep reserging the seams to bring it back in.
Fair enough.
So this sewing with a walking foot is actually probably going to be the best. So I have my my stitch length on 3.
Mm-hmm. 3 millimeters?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll
about
just
120 thousandths.
Is that what that is?
Mm-hmm. 40 thousandths per millimeter.
All right. And then let's see if this reaches.
What?
Oh, yeah, it's an automatic needle
down, needle up.
Needle down,
What?
needle up.
I'm super jealous. I don't have that on any of my machines.
It's pretty great. All right, so we'll do a little front stitch, a little back stitch, and then you can just...
And you're still staying ever so slightly on the outside of that line.
Yeah, I'm just always worried about having not enough fabric. It's all going to shrink in. But we also have some this line on the inside of this line that we drew. That's where our pattern was.
Right.
So we have the width of this line.
Which is not insignificant, spread out against all 8.
Right.
Yeah.
So this might wind up being a little bigger than we want it to be, but bigger is better. We can always take it in.
Right. Oh, and all the writing's on the inside.
Yes.
Oh my God, I love this material so much.
Can't wait to see what you make with it, or what you decide you might want to use it for. Have you seen these before?
Whoa, no.
Isn't that neat?
Oh, that's a...
I love those. I love little scissors. It's another Famore scissor. They're just so fun.
I am so enamored of that. All right, I was trying to compress one when I realized I could just stretch the other side.
These straight lines are great. Once we start getting into the collar, that's going to be the challenge. Ooh, nice.
And I'll start working on... Oh, that is the whole thing. So the next thing we do is join these...
Will be the collar. So we'll have to have one whole side.
Oh, right, the collar into the... Okay, so this is collar
so we'll
back,
have to have
and this is front. So this is, it's this.
Yep.
Got it. This is so much fun. I'm normally just bumbling around myself doing this, so it's really fun to sew with another person. When you watch the people who sew like blue jeans for a living go, it's so humbling.
It is.
How fast they shove that stuff through the sewing machine.
Oh, yep. I'm fascinated with people that do little tips and tricks of like weird ways to sew things. Mm-hmm. Like they'll put a paper clip on the sewing machine and suddenly they're making bias tape. Like, wow.
Oh my God. There is this funny feedback loop that when I go look up techniques, it's either already covered by us, like Jen, or specifically Bill Duran. It is like the signal to noise ratio is like.
I kind of like standing up. I sit down at home when I'm sewing, and it does become kind of a full contact sport.
Yeah, I have to be careful because my back can start to hurt and then it won't stop. Ooh. So I have to choose my work approach carefully, which is why the stools are always here at two different heights, because I kind of oscillate back and forth. Because, you know, once you've chosen a bad position and you start to get achy, the whole rest of the project can suck. But I do like standing too. There you are.
Thank you.
And then this just gets attached to that.
Yes, but we're going to sew zippers first.
Oh, right.
Yep.
Okay, so I could start to...
Yeah, you could start pinning. And we'll keep the zipper closed.
Right.
I'm sure you've sewn zippers before onto things.
Do you have a... Oh, do you do the long one at the top or the bottom?
Let's do the long one on the... let's do the long one on the top. What did I do over here? I did the long one on the top. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I changed my mind. Let's do it on the bottom.
Okay.
Because I had that problem.
Oh, you had that problem of a little bit of, yeah.
Yeah, I think it might, if there was a little bit more tape holding it in place, maybe that,
May I see
maybe
your,
that would help.
your torquey pins there? Yes.
Oh, these?
Yeah,
yes. Yeah. Okay. So what I like to do with this part is match up our seams.
Right.
It's going to be our best chance to have things lining up so that the zipper will end
not
up in the right place.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm softening up some of the stuff where it's in crossing the zipper. And okay.
And I was having a really hard time pinning while it was closed completely. So I would suggest doing
like getting
a
it
few
started
places and then unzipping it to make life a little easier.
Oh, all right. Oh man, this is so cool. Oh, that didn't work.
Yeah, so this should, let's do just a double check and we'll just make sure that it's landing in the kind of a similar area down on this side here. So there's our seam. Yeah, look at that.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Neat.
Excellent. It's definitely not the most beautiful sewing that I've ever done.
I'm sad because that was really the point of this.
Well, we need another 4 hours of me just sewing.
So again, we're just going to catch one or two.
Yep.
Here, why don't I hold this while you pin it,
good
because that might be a little easier.
Ooh, I'm sorry about your fingers.
No, you won't get them. The calluses are so thick you'd have trouble digging through it anyway.
There.
So now, yeah, that's enough, right?
Can we do maybe one more?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see here. Okay.
Excellent.
Oh, I got myself.
Oh, well, that's
going to fall out.
You had to keep trying.
I had to keep trying. Okay, yeah, that's good.
Okay, so, it's happening.
It's happening.
I'm
finally,
so excited about this
finally.
part. Oh, this is going to be so. I love that moment when you're sewing something together and you turn it inside out.
Yes.
Right, like it's always like a magic trick, but this is a wholly different thing. I've never done this before.
And the double separating zipper is a new challenge.
There we go. Ooh. Oh, neat. That's the front. Okay, so this could be some adjusting. Oh, right, and so this come up top.
The moment of truth. Yay!
Oh, that is so cool.
Go us. There's a lot of extra in here.
Will that not be? Will we be able to shrink all that out?
I think so.
Okay.
Let's try.
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
Yeah. So with the steam, the directions say keep it a few inches away.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think I see it already moving.
Yep. So it's definitely shrinking, and you can feel.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
it's
wow.
getting harder.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
here.
that's so fast.
Give it
Oh,
a
really?
go.
Me?
Sure.
Okay. And it strikes me that like going all the way around this band is probably a smart thing to do.
Yeah, and I have seen some folks say start with seams and get your seams kind of where you want them to be if you want them to be symmetrical.
Oh my gosh.
We also probably could have covered the form underneath with some plastic so that the water doesn't
so we
get in
didn't
it.
make it wet.
But it's okay. I've made a couple of them on this form like that, but it's just something to keep in mind if you're making something else, that the steam's going to get all the way through the fabric.
Right, right.
But isn't that amazing? It's really kind of gratifying.
It's
fun.
blowing my mind. No, this is really. I mean, the other thing is I can feel it. Like you can actually push it in to kind of get it closer to the form.
Mm-hmm. And the harder you push with the steam, the flatter that material is going to become. So you can really kind of iron out those lumps, if you have lumps.
Oh, this is just changing all sorts of ways in which I think about things. So then you could actually, I mean, given that you have a scan of your body, of your torso, you could 3D print that and mass produce these.
I could, and I could fill
I don't mean
one.
mass produce them, but I mean make a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Right.
And I could fill one with expandable foam or something like that, and
Right.
make a form that I can pin into.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I've got so many great ideas for things to do with this stuff, because it's just, like you say, it's just opening up a whole lot of things that we can do with this material.
Oh, I got to get one of these steamers. It's also amazing when you then touch it and you feel that 600 weight.
It's really significant, and we can play with the other ones whenever you want, the other weights, so you can see what the difference is.
Well, you know, I've had this long plan. I have this super lightweight black vinyl fabric upstairs that I bought at Mood in New York 15 years ago, because I want to make an all-sewn xenomorph costume.
Ah.
And this is how I could do the head.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That'd be very lightweight.
Yeah. Because that's what's been keeping me, is balancing that head is really hard on the body. Oh, right. And so I see that you could actually go through and do one quick pass to kind of shrink it all a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you can go and, oh, there's so much to do. So little time. Oh, yeah. No, I'm really starting to see how, like, because it's a thermoplastic, it doesn't move a lot when you go back into it hard, but it certainly is, you certainly have the ability to do some adjustment there. Oh, my God. Beverly.
It looks great. I love that
really
orange.
does.
It kind of makes it sporty.
It really does. The orange is super awesome. That was so fast. That was the most fun part of this whole operation. Okay.
Excellent.
So I'm just feeling it all the way through. Great. I guess you could do stuff where before you did it, you went and brought the seams in and pinned it to hold to the, right. That's what you were saying.
Yeah, and we could make some
for
adjustments
alignment.
before we, dive in with the steam. But it's so forgiving. I mean, look where the seam was. We patterned it way down here.
Yeah.
But our seam ended up here, but it's still fine. It's still keeping that shape.
And it's doing what it needs to do, which is create a volume.
All right, moment of truth. We might be in a little trouble on this side, but it'll unzip.
All right.
It will.
Here, I'll take the tough side for unzipping. Oh, that wasn't bad at all. No, trivial. Actually trivial. All right, and then this one. Same deal. Oh, and the inside is really cool looking. I love this. All of your instructions are here.
It's our roadmap.
It stands by itself.
Oops, unless I knock it over.
All right, let's try. Oh, right. So now we got to.
Now we've got to
put it together.
Put it together.
All right. Oh, this is.
This was the trickier part for me when I was putting my form back together again. It was just wrangling the zippers.
Yeah, fair enough. The second one, I'm sure. It's like. A travelable dress form. Beverly, I'm so.
It's so neat.
Opened my eyes. This is amazing.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite things. All honestly, thanks to Sophie for bringing one to Silicon last year. But yeah, I'm really happy to add zippers. I think it adds a functionality. But like I said, you can put a zipper anywhere you want. If you just wanted to open in the back, that would work just fine.
Yeah.
You could do a half form. You could do no arms. You could do arms. I'm going to do some arms eventually.
Nice, right.
Just to be able to pin them on, so I can have a little bit more display capability for my costumes.
You could also lay down a Velcro loop.
Yeah.
And add some tabs that allow you to assemble.
Yep.
Dude,
that's a great idea.
That is incredible. And it weighs, about 6 or 7 ounces.
Oh, and the other thing I wanted to show you, which is on my other one. Let's see. So
oh, yes!
This is your
little...
It's not necessarily a cap. I will put it underneath so I can put a light stand so it has something really hard to stabilize it on the inside.
Oh, that's great. And you just stretch this over a thing and steamed it.
Yeah, and then I put the other form right on top of it so it actually fits underneath this one.
Oh, okay, so it pops in there.
Yeah.
Dude.
This was a flat piece and I got it all the way around like that.
That's really neat. And that is also, there's so much possibility in there.
Yes. You make lots of fun stuff.
I think you can kind of see that the addition of this seam allowed a little more refinement in the shape.
Yep, I think you're right. But yeah, it's all I think the next one that I'm going to make is going to have a zipper probably in the back. I don't know.
A single zipper in the back?
Just to try it.
Okay.
Because as you have more uninterrupted Fosshape, you have more strength. So see, we have a little bit of wiggle here, but on my mock-up that I did, where the shoulders are completely, feel how rigid that is.
Oh, wow.
It's very different.
Yeah.
So
you could almost also do something like where you made a seam that you Velcroed in.
Yes.
You could do that underneath after the fact. I mean, God, there's so many possibilities.
Snaps, magnets.
I really appreciate you coming in and showing me this. It's totally like, I'm gonna have to open a part of my brain for thinking about what this can add to my process, but it's freaking great.
This was really, really fun for me. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, anytime you want to come by, let's make some.
Absolutely.